As a managing attorney, dealing with foreclosure prevention and helping people keep their homes for almost 6 years. And you would be surprised to know that people don't really understand what house poor is. And they think that when they hire a realtor and when they get approval from the mortgage company and the banks, that they wouldn't approve them for something that they can't afford. They don't understand how they look at like your debt to income ratio and not just your credit or your income and stuff like that to come out with a number. They don't understand the underwriting process, and they also don't understand how escrow plays a part in it. And the mortgage company cannot estimate what your escrow will be over the course of your loan. Escrow is something that will always fluctuate. And so I don't think that people think that being house poor is a flex. I think that most people just trust those that have been put in place to help them, and think that the realtors and the mortgage originator and things like that they're giving them all the information. A lot of times also people don't, like, you can't plan on the death of a spouse. And people go into things with two incomes and thinking that they can afford it, and then a spouse will die or a spouse will get laid off and lose their job, and it's just not affordable anymore. And so I really don't think that people just think it's a flex to be house poor. I get that a lot of times people want a really nice house, and unfortunately the really nice houses cost a lot of money, but I think it just goes deeper than a flex.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with her. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Want to talk to you guys about this attorney, or she said she worked in that capacity, helping people go through the foreclosure process. I can only speak for myself when I say prior to, say, 2010, I started in the business in 2003. From 2003 to 2010, you may have had folks that run into this type of issue where there's just a lack of education and information. But for sure, in my opinion, 2018 coming forward, there's too much information out here. And I will say this, not all loan officers or folks that are in the business, they all don't have the same level of ethics, if you will, to make sure that you know your numbers, that you know what you can and can't afford. That's not something that we have to do technically. If you fit the guidelines, as an example, FHA loans, you can go as high as 56% as a total back-end ratio. That's the new house payment, all your current liabilities that are on your credit report. Okay. And then that's based on your gross income. So as I say all the time, we qualify on the gross, you live on the net. And so what I will say is this. Let me make this assumption. Let me assume that there's folks out there, as she's saying, that don't understand. I want to give you a framework before we get off the video today so that you know how to move forward. But again, I just had to give my 2 cents up front because folks like to play country dumb when they bite off more than they can chew. And then we look to blame other folks. But let's just assume some of you out there that may be looking to get on the property ladder and you're moving forward and you really don't understand these things. So if you follow this framework that I'm about to give you, you won't put yourself in a situation that, barring something out of your control that she mentioned, a death, a divorce, something of that nature, then you should be good. Before I do that, for those that don't know me, my name is Robert. And on this channel, my goal is to simplify the home loan process. I am a lender, NMLS license number 180100, 180100. That's what qualifies me to talk on this subject. Like I said, been in the business a little over 20 years now, and this is what we do on a daily basis. Now, here's the framework. I like what she said towards the end. I want you to trust me. I want you to trust your lender, your loan officer, he or she, whoever that person is, but you always have to verify. And so one of the best resources that you have today is YouTube, if you're watching this video. take some time to vet out who it is that you're dealing with. A lot of builders, new construction, they can skirt that process because a lot of you all out there are dealing with the barrier to getting into home ownership, either via down payment or closing cost assistance. So a lot of those folks can hide behind the builder because they have what it is that you want. And it's harder for you to vet out really what the heart, the spirit of that professional that you're dealing with, to see if they're just making a commission, going to tell you what you want to hear. But even if that's the case, go to a place like YouTube and educate yourself. Number 2, no bad question. If you're dealing with someone that doesn't want to answer questions, that should be a telltale sign for you that you need to move on down the road, because somewhere down the line, you're going to run into something that should have been put to the fore, to your attention. And after you sign on the dotted line, it's too late. Okay. And before I go forward, I'm not from the mindset that everybody out here has a nefarious motive. Again, caveat emptor, buyer beware. You're an adult. I'm an adult. You have to do your due diligence. And what I'm saying is, today, with all of the technology that we have, a lot of these large language models can go in and summarize things. So there's just a ton of information out here, but I digress. Trust, but verify. That's what I was mentioning to you. And then you can do that research by seeing if the lender that you're dealing with has any type of social media presence where you can, again, hear the heart of the person that it is that you're dealing with. And then if not, then you just have to ask a lot of questions. Don't let anybody push you through a process. And then on your side, don't go through a process making the best case scenario out of everything. When you want something, yeah, I can do this, yeah, I can do that. No, you have to be realistic. You have to know the numbers. And here's the deal. The principal and interest payment, the principal and interest portion of a 15, 30, 25, 10-year fixed interest rate loan will not change. Well, the escrow account is made up or comprised of your taxes. Taxes change yearly. And depending on where you are, the frequency could be more than once a year, or taxes are charged. And there's a lot of external forces that deal with or that determine what your taxes are. Okay. So when you're going through that exercise, your professional ought to be able to tell you what the worst case scenario is. Insurance, depending on where you are, regardless of where you are, it seems like today, there's just so much going on. Insurance is up. Some places are worse than others. Homeowner association dues. There's some new home communities that have PIDs, public improvement districts, different watershed districts. There's a lot that goes into your total payment. Okay. Just spoke with a young lady that came by the way of the channel today, and we went through that process. All right. And she was like, well, man, it took a little longer than I expected. Yeah, because I want all of your documentation so that you understand what it is that you're getting into. Because if you can digest that and you can handle that with some margin, some money's left over, then you should be okay. You see what I'm saying? So understand the escrow account, taxes, insurance, homeowner association dues, other special assessments if they apply. Those things are going to be collected monthly, and the latter changes on a yearly basis. So if you're not comfortable with those numbers, what you can do is this: to mitigate that, I like to put a 3% buffer across the board on those things. I would go 3 to 5% below my net. And yeah, there's homes out here. Okay, everybody that live in California in certain places, or in New York or Florida in certain places, there's still affordable homes out here. We have to live within our means, respectfully. If not, you'll be house rich and cash poor. And we don't want you to have to go through these situations to where you have a bad taste in your mouth and may not be able to rebound. Again, life events. Maybe somebody got ill. God forbid that doesn't happen. A life passed, and that was a part of the income. These are things that happen sometimes, and if that's the case, if you buy right, that will buy time to let you know if, hey, maybe I have to downsize, I have to liquidate, I can't afford this place anymore. You see what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that either. Okay. But so yeah, understand the escrow account, put a 3% buffer margin in, pardon me. And then the last thing is this: when you're going through the numbers and discovering what this home is going to take for you to live in peace, the OVA rule, 14 cents per square foot. Take whatever square footage is that you're buying, multiply it times 0.14%. And I can't guarantee, but it's just worked for me over the years. If you put that money to the side every month, your maintenance and the things that are planned obsolescence, when those things come, you'll have the money for it. You see, it's all about planning. If you don't have the ability to put those monies to the side, you need to stop, because maintaining your largest investment, if you don't have the bandwidth to put those monies in, even if you've lowered your purchase price, well, then maybe waiting is what you should do. And that's what we all need to understand. It's not an indictment against you. No today doesn't mean a no down the line. And for some of us, you might have to rent. Got to figure out a different way to take care of your future self. So I just saw that video, wanted to bring this to the fore, a little different than what we've been bringing. But these are practical things. Just to reiterate, trust but verify. Okay. Understand what goes into your escrow account: taxes, insurance, homeowners associations, possibly special assessment districts for newer construction out on the periphery. All those things could be associated with your payment, and those things change. They could. You need to understand that. You need to be able to absorb a 3% increase, or expect that yearly. And then lastly, 14 cents per square foot. Now you know. When you know better, you do better, right? Because once you sign on the dotted line, it's yours. And that's not the time to want to find all these things out. So my time is up, but I thank you for yours. As I always say, guys, let's be good to one another. Let us let grace abound. And if you are looking to get on the property ladder and you're looking for someone like myself, my contact information is either in the description or the pinned comment below. Let's have a conversation. The first 15 minutes is free, is on me. You can interview me. I can interview you to see if we're a fit. And this is the guarantee. You will know what you can afford. Facts. We will help you devise a plan to not only buy, live in peace, but also think about an exit strategy down the line. Before you get out of here, watch this video right up here. And until the next time, indeed, stay blessed.